The city first launched the project in 2014 to ease traffic congestion. After delays caused by a rejected environmental review in 2021, the project finally gained approval in September 2024 and moved forward. Completion is expected in 2030. Starting next month, Busan City will launch the nation's first pilot program to support Internet of Things and AI-based home food waste processors. The devices can weigh the food waste, send data wirelessly, and reduce odors with advanced deodorizing features. The trial will target single-family homes and small apartment buildings with fewer than 100 households. Based on the results, the city plans to expand the program citywide next year. A city official said the goal is to reduce waste and maximize recycling. In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump announced plans to end the mutual tariff suspension on July 8th, stating that the U.S. will send letters to trade partners instead of continuing negotiations. He emphasized imposing up to 50% tariffs based on its own analysis of trade imbalances, while some countries may face a lower base rate of 10%. He specifically cited Japan's car exports as unfair. Trump also talked about the possible sale of TikTok's U.S. operations, saying wealthy buyers are interested. He criticized the Inflation Reduction Act subsidies, but admitted it would be difficult to stop them since some projects have already started. And now for today's weather. Current temperatures are 28 degrees Celsius. A heat wave warning has been issued across parts of Busan. That wraps up this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You are listening to BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is Busan Worldwide with Stephanie Yoon. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Good morning and welcome to Busan Worldwide. In 2023, more than 7,000 stray animals were reported here in Busan. Many of them were fortunate enough to find new homes or be reunited with their original families. However, with adoption rates declining, nearly half of these animals still ended up either euthanized or dying from other causes. As responsible pet ownership gains more attention, we must remember that there are still many lives around us in need of care and support. Well, this is Busan Worldwide, and I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon.
This is Busan Worldwide, your window into Busan, your bridge to the world.
Welcome to Busan Worldwide on this Monday morning. It is June 30th, and hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning so far. Now, last year in Busan, more than 7,000 abandoned animals were taken into shelters. 부산에선 지난해 7,000마리가 넘는 유기동물이 보호소로 들어왔습니다. Dogs accounted for the majority, but there were also many cats. Statistics show that the number of rescued animals tends to increase during the vacation season from May to July. Some of these animals were reunited with their owners, and about 850 found new families. However, nearly half of the rescued animals still ended up living out of their final days in the shelters. At a time when attention to pets is more important than ever, Busan City has announced support for neutering costs for certain dog breeds classified as dangerous under Korean law. And this past weekend, the Busan Veterinary Conference also took place, highlighting the city's ongoing efforts to promote animal welfare and responsible pet ownership. We definitely look forward to seeing Busan become a safer and more compassionate city where both people and animals can live together in harmony. Now, today on The Interview, we'll be joined by three pioneers in global veterinary education. So stay tuned. We do have a full house in the studio. In connection with this topic, today's text topic question is this. If you could talk to your pet, what would you like to ask? If you could talk to your pet, what would you like to ask? 네, 오늘은 여러분의 반려동물 이야기를 들어보고 싶습니다. 문자 주제는요. 반려동물과 대화할 수 있다면 어떤 질문을 하고 싶으신가요? Now, I had a dog, right? My dog passed away last year. He was with me for about 16 years, so he was definitely a big part of my life. But if I can speak to him, I have so many questions. I'm sure you guys do too. So I would ask, what did you dream about, right? Because he would dream a lot. He would bark and move his legs when he's dreaming. Did you ever get bored or lonely, right? When I'm not home? And what made you the happiest? So many questions. Maybe what's your favorite snack? I would love to ask him anything. So listeners, share your thoughts with us. If you could talk to your pet, what would you like to ask? You can send in your messages through #9050 or Kakao Talk or the YouTube live chat as well. We'll select one listener to receive a coffee coupon as usual. We have Benny already messaging in saying, hello, good morning, Stephanie, Chang PD, and everyone. Happy last day of June. That's right, June 30th. Hope you're having a wonderful day and hope you had a wonderful month of June indeed. From Busan to the world, Busan worldwide. 오늘의 더 인터뷰 만나보겠습니다. Now it's time for The Interview. Companion animals or pets have reached a population of 15 million in South Korea. Globally, it is estimated that nearly 2 billion pets live alongside humans. Animals are no longer simply quote-unquote pets. They become cherished family members. We call them furry family members, right? Accordingly, the role of veterinary medicine is also evolving. So today on The Interview, we'll explore the future of veterinary medicine amid these changes. Joining our three pioneers in global veterinary education, Professor Henry Yu from Western University, Professor Jason Shi from China Agricultural University School of Veterinary Medicine, and Professor Rustin Moore from the Ohio State University College of Veterinary Medicine, author of Unleashing the Bond, who has long emphasized the relationship between veterinarians, animals, and people. Hello and welcome. Hello.
Good morning, Stephanie. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good introduction.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to have all three of you here in the studio today. Now, first, could you introduce yourself to our listeners and give a brief overview of your involvement in the Busan Veterinary Conference held this past weekend? Professor Yu?
Yes. Henry Yu, been in veterinary practice about 50 years in the United States. I met Dr. Lee, who is the president of this organization many years ago. Rather than running just routine conventions, we decided to make it more global and with some distinctive elements in that. So we decided to bring some industry elements. So veterinary profession with the academic components as well as the industry connectivity. I think that's what we are bringing, very new concept in Korea.
Absolutely. And Professor Shi?
Hello, Busan worldwide audiences, and hello, my friend in Busan. This is my honor to be here. It's first time to be in Busan. First time for the interview. And I just heard you talk about the animals, pet, as a friend of people.
Of course.
In Busan, so many people love pet. And I also witnessed this time young doctors in Busan or in Korea, they love their profession. They are working hard. They're eager to learn. And they are very nice people. And I think the animals, veterinary medicine, small animal doctors here are qualified and need to be respected. We respect them. And this is Busan conference. That's very impressive. And Busan is impressive too.
Oh, that's
Thank you very
great
much.
to hear. That's great to hear. I feel like I'm getting that approval from all around the world. Now, Professor Moore?
Yeah, my name's Rustin Moore, and I'm the Dean at the Ohio State University College of Veterinary Medicine. I'm also here in the capacity as the immediate past president of the American Association of Veterinary Medical Colleges. And in that role here at the conference, it's really about what we can do to help advance veterinary education in South Korea. And that could be through helping through accreditation or other advanced training programs. I'd say the main thing being here, in addition to that, is trying to get veterinarians to view their profession and veterinary practice through the lens of the human-animal bond.
I see. And we are going to talk a bit about your book in our interview. So stay tuned for that, listeners. Now that the conference is now concluded, it was held this past weekend. How would you summarize your experience representing the Busan Veterinary Conference here in Busan? Professor Yu?
In one word, explosive. I've seen for the last 3 years in a row attendees. There's a lot more younger generation coming in, and probably they heard their opinion of a previous track record. So many international students came, almost 300 international students, which is a really historical.
Right.
Having that, it costs a lot of money and money. So I think it was a really explosive. It shows the future of Busan Veterinary Conference is going to continue to grow.
Absolutely. And it's exciting to think about the future of the conference. Professor Jason Hsu?
Throughout this conference, I see the future of veterinarians from different countries, different regions, throughout Asian or even throughout the world. I see the future of cooperation, the potential of exchange information. We visit each other to improve the quality and the services of our doctors to our client and their pet. And future possibility of trade and exchange of information, exchange of product, and the future is beautiful there.
That's great to hear. And Professor Moore?
I think one of the most impressive things that I witnessed was the level of engagement in the community that was being built by people from all over Asia speaking different languages.
Oh, wow.
Yet there seemed to be a universal language, much laughter, much enjoyment.
Oh, wow.
I would say the one thing about this conference and bringing people together from all over, people need to also understand the role of the veterinarian is broader than just animal health. We are very much engaged in the concept of One Health, which is animal health, human health, and environmental health. And with international trade and with all the travel of everybody, diseases can transfer from continent to continent. And I think it's really important that we understand that and bring that here, but also make sure we learn from people here as well.
Absolutely.
Stephanie, if I want to add one more.
Okay.
And I can see the path of Korean veterinary groups developing into global. And this is probably the only convention that I see that many international components at this point.
Right.
So this might be the pathway to actually leading the veterinary conventions in Asia and maybe globalized as well. At the same time, I see so much of a global components coming up. So we might be able to become a mecca of veterinary medicine in Asia.
Right, and that's what we look forward to.
Yes.
And it's wonderful to hear. So let's hear a bit more about the Busan Veterinary Conference. So what were the main programs and overall concept of this year's event, Dr. Yu?
Well, one of the very unique thing we did yesterday with the help of Dane Moore, I'm involved in education a lot in the United States, a lot of consulting. So I'm always looking for the best way you can maximize the veterinary medicine through education, through utilization in the industry. Seoul National University has been ABMA accredited, meaning the graduates of Seoul National University are equally qualified to become the veterinarian in the United States. So they don't have to go to the United States, go to veterinary school there. They can graduate from Seoul National University. Seoul National University have a unique position. They can train Korean veterinarians to the level of a veterinarian in the USA within 1 year period after they graduate from non-SNU graduates. So the deans of the college got together to see how we can maximize an opportunity that SNU gave to Korea and Asia. So that was one of the epoch-making components. Students were interested and the deans were interested and all the media were very interested. So that's a very unique thing no one has done before. And it was a very successful meeting yesterday.
And that's probably why there were so many international students, as Professor Shi mentioned. And Dr. Yu, was there a particular theme or message that you or the organizers aim to emphasize through this year's event?
In terms of veterinary medicine part? I think my area of expertise is very unique. Preventive medicine and hospital operations and management. So most of the conventions, majority of the topics are technology related. But that is hardware part, software part, which is management operations. And preventive medicine, those are the ones that can be combined to technology and be maximized. So those are the things I'll try to put more impetus to the idiosyncrasy of the lecture.
I see. I wish I was there during your lecture to hear more about it. Now, listeners, if you are just tuning into Busan Worldwide, we're in the middle of the interview with Professor Henry Yu from Western University, Professor Jason Shi from China Agricultural University, and also Professor Rustin Moore from the Ohio State University. Now, Dr. Yu, looking ahead, how do you envision the future of veterinary medicine, especially here in Busan or in Asia in general? And what role do you think maybe conferences like this conference can play in shaping that future?
I already mentioned a little bit, but to emphasize that, Korea is a very strong country in science, but we need to put more practical elements in veterinary medicine training. This is why SNU, with that special system coming, so many students not only learn the ideas and the theories, but also hands-on technology. So these conventions we might include more hands-on technology components in the future. And as a result, students will feel very comfortable going into the practice after they graduate. So Korean student, from my experience, I'm a graduate of SNU, and when we went to school, it was a long time ago still, we are so ideal focused, not the practicality. So with that practicality, it's going to be perfect combination of the skilled veterinarians.
Just really preparing for them through hands-on experiences.
Preparing for the market.
Of course. And Professor Jason Shi, as you mentioned, this is your first time here in Busan. So I do want to ask, what do you think about Busan, and how has it been for you in our city?
This is my first visit to Busan, and the first visit to this conference. And I just mentioned my impression for the I wrote 4 Chinese characters. My work is unique this time. My mission is unique to pass the information that as a doctor, veterinarian, you have to have a technique, skills to help these animals to save their lives. But at the same time, doctors have to have a heart, compassionate. So that's why I brought Chinese calligraphy to this conference.
Oh, wow.
And I wrote like 20, 30 plus calligraphy artwork, and I passed them to the attendants of this conference. My impression, very impressive, is the group of the Busan Veterinary Medical Association. They are working so hard to organize, to coordinate, to make this conference a successful one. And they are hard-working people. That's very impressive one. And second, I didn't realize that Busan is such a beautiful city. Such a beautiful city.
Of course.
I wrote 4 Chinese characters. The big, beautiful city is Busan.
Oh, I love that.
And I give that to the Dr. Lee, the president of the association.
I'm sure he cried a bit.
And also impressive is the food.
Oh, yes.
We enjoyed. So beautiful, wonderful. Thank you.
I absolutely agree. Food, people, but also I love what you mentioned, not just skills, but when it comes to veterinary care, heart has to be there. I love that. Now, I do want to talk to Professor Rustin more as well. You brought your book with you. You recently published the book titled Unleashing the Bond, a book centered on the human-animal connection. So could you share some of the key insights from your book?
First of all, I think the human-animal bond is universal between someone who has all the wealth in the world, don't differ that much.
Right.
So I think it's something that can actually unify, maybe level the playing field. And I've often heard it calls that animals can democratize. They're democratizers. So, in the book, we go into a lot of depth about the various ways the bonds impact us and our own health, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically.
Right.
And one of the reasons I think it's so important in veterinary medicine is because if every veterinarian approaches their patient and their client through the lens of the human-animal bond and realizes that no two bonds are the same, and you really have to ask the right questions and then do a lot of listening.
Right.
And then based upon that, move forward, because you could have 10 people with the same dog and the same condition, but they may all want something different.
Ooh.
So not making assumptions, not making judgments, but really focusing on the heart of that bond.
Right.
So I think one of the things related to that at this conference is I saw people transferring new knowledge. We saw a lot in the technology space. And then there was that interpersonal communication, whether we call it compassionate, empathetic, the human-animal bond, or heart. Those 3 things, that's what's going to make a veterinarian highly successful.
Oh, wow.
The other important thing I think about this conference is that it had so many students here. And they were really engaged. And they're the future of South Korea, Busan, and the other countries that they represent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you share your book?
Sure.
Drag it to us.
Yes, it's Unleashing the Bond.
Unleashing
and
the Bond.
Subtitle is Harnessing the Power of Human-Animal Interactions.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love how you talked about that transformative connection between people and animals. Then could I ask, what inspired you to write this book?
So when I became dean 10 years ago, we, the university had a TEDx series. And I tried to get our faculty to submit something because I wanted us to be represented.
Right.
And no one would. So the night before, I decided to submit a nomination to talk, and I did a TED Talk called The Power of a Pet. And fast forward 8 years later, somebody at a company, a publishing house, saw it, contacted me and asked me to write a book. I said no 3 times. And then I got on the Zoom call with him, and the rest is history.
Oh, wow.
So I really didn't set out to write one, but I'm glad that he was convincing enough because it's been so energizing to do.
Right. The world kind of pushed you to write this book and help the world understand better. Now, you mentioned and highlighted the emotional bond between humans and animals. How do you see this bond really influencing future veterinary education and care as well?
Most people who go into veterinary school are very compassionate, empathetic people. One of the things I think we have to be careful of is that they take on too much emotion. And then that ends up having a negative impact on our own health and well-being. But I really think the connection to animals and emotion, if we can channel that also to the client to build trust. Veterinary care is becoming more expensive around the world. And we need to make sure that we build a level of relationship and trust with the owner. And we present options for them and their pet. We meet them where they are, whether it's socioeconomically or otherwise. We meet the client or the patient where they are. What does the client want from them? Do they want them to be an athletic agility dog, or do they want them to be a couch potato that is a friend and a family member? 95% of people in the U.S., actually more than that, and probably around the world, view their pet as a family member.
Right, of course.
And so they want the best thing for the pet. And I think, again, focusing on that human-animal bond, we can work to achieve what they want and what's in the best interest of the patient.
I see. So then there's a 3-way connection. It seems like veterinary care, but also pets and the owners as well. So important. Now, listeners, if you're just tuning into Busan Worldwide, we're in the middle of the interview speaking with Professor Henry Yu, Professor Jason Shi, and also Professor Rustin Moore. Here in the studio, we do have a full house. Now, I do want to ask, after attending Busan Veterinary Conference and engaging with veterinarians from across the countries, what moment or message stood out to you the most, Professor Moore?
I think the moment, or actually it was the moments, because again, I saw such deep interaction between people, genuinely having fun, learning from one another, whether it was about veterinary medicine or cultural things. You would have never known these people came from all over the world if you just watched them, because they were just constantly engaging. And to me, that's a sign of a successful conference where people don't feel excluded. They feel part of the community. And that happened time and time again during the conference.
That's great to hear. And listeners, if you're just tuning in and you're tuning in through YouTube, you can see some of the pictures that we have coming from the conference from yesterday and the day before as well. So do check it out. And we're going to move on to our final question, which is our text topic of the day. So if you have a pet, or if you don't, and if you can talk to these pets, what question would you want to ask the most? Let's start with Professor Yu.
I already was doing that to my cat. Nabi.
So you communicate with your cat.
Yeah. The first question, how long do you want to live?
Oh.
And also, I'm a human-animal bond originator myself in the United States, and I'm the one actually built the first seeing eye dog in Korea with a Samsung about 1991 to 1997. I changed a few laws relating to an animal. So death is always something that I have to keep in mind.
Right, of course.
And I ask my cat also, second question is, when you die, where do you want to go?
Oh no. Right, we'll move on from there. I think it's definitely, it touches our hearts, right? And there are family members, so it's a hard question sometimes, but absolutely interesting question that we can ponder on. How about you, Professor Shi?
It's a topic that is hot topic for our doctors, veterinarians throughout the world, I think. We all facing the animals, they're sick, they're ill, they're dying. So we have to work so hard to keep this to keep these animals. And I think as a human being, our life is short. You know, only 30,000 plus days, 30,000 plus days. Life is short. People chasing, working, and they're looking for, they want to be happy, look for fun, look for a good life. And in this regard, I think pet plays very important role. They give you, they accompany you, they have fun with you, and they, they provided the activities that make you happy, make your life is happy, even though their lifespan is like 10, 15 years, 20 years, but they can, make the owners very happy. That's why people willing to spend money to bring their pet to the animal hospital for treatment for illness. So I think it's a human life. I said that it's very short. Wealth, money, and luxury things can give you some degree. You feel happy, but emotionally, those are not the things that you are really. Sometimes you think, what is the meaning of life? Okay,
right.
And the meaning of life, you want to be healthy, happy, and luckiness, whatever. The pet can provide many part of that.
Right, definitely.
And so I work as a doctor, as a veterinarian. If you want to ask me what you want to say to your pet, I had pet cat at home for like 30 plus 40 years, one after another. If you ask me what you want to say to your pet, I think the one word I want to say is thank you very much for the company so many years, with us. And pleased me, my family member, pleased my kids. When my kids is like 3 or 4 years, carry a puppy from neighbor, say, Daddy, can I get a puppy like this?
Right.
It's a very pleasant, emotional thing to have a pet.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you very much if you want to say something to
right.
I couldn't finish because I'm emotional, but
I absolutely understand.
Can't think about my cat dying, but I think if I ask my cat where you want to live after you die, I got an answer from the cat. I want to be with you for the rest of your life. So.
Of course. Life is short, especially for our pets, but we can, of course, goodbyes are so hard, but we can give what they deserve while they're here through good veterinary care and love. And I can just hear from your answers that you have so much love, not just skills, but also love as well. So thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sorry for making you tear up, but this is the topic, right? So how about you, Professor Moore?
Well, I currently have 3 black miniature schnauzers, and they're in my book.
Beautiful.
And their names are Travis Lincoln, Teddy Luther, and Tucker Lewis. If I was going to ask them a question, I would ask them, what am I not doing for you that you need?
Yeah.
And what do you want me to stop doing? I know what they would say about stop doing.
Right.
Quit taking pictures of me, especially when I'm asleep. With the flash. That's what I would be asking my dogs.
Right. I would love to ask that too. So we can communicate. One day there will be technology where we can communicate with our pets, I hope. Well, thank you so much for being so vulnerable, so open and honest in the interview. And that's going to do it for today's The Interview with Professor Henry Yu from Western University, Professor Jason Hsu from China Agricultural University, and Professor Rustin Moore from The Ohio State University. Thank you again for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
My pleasure.
Great job.
All right. With that, let's take a quick song break. This is The Family Stone with Everyday Sly and the Family Stone. Welcome back to Busan Worldwide. I'm your host, Stephanie Yoon. Oh man, talking about pets is always quite emotional. I hope you enjoyed it, the interview, quite informative, but also very moving personally. Today's text topic is all about your stories with pets. I would love to hear any stories about your pets. If you could talk to your pet, what would you like to say to them or ask them? If you could talk to your pet, what would you like to ask them? 네, 오늘 문자 주제는요. 반려동물과 대화할 수 있다면 어떤 질문을 하고 싶으신가요? So we have Benny님 saying, for me, we have a pet and we want to ask, what do you want to do with the family? And are you worried without your food and etc.? Yeah, I think we have just so many questions. Yeah, I would love to ask that too. What would you like to do? What do you want to do? We want to cater to them, but sometimes that communication isn't there. We have Humberto-님 messaging in. Hello and welcome. He shared, for my cat, I would like to ask, do you miss your sister? She actually died of cancer 2 years ago, and I'm so sorry for your loss. 2 years is so soon, and we thank you for sharing with us, and I'm sure your cats miss your sister, and I would love to ask that as well. Do you miss certain people, or do you remember them? And that would be wonderful questions to ask. We have Jinli-님 messaging in, Benny-님 messaging in, Kosu-님 saying hello, hello. A lot of these emojis of 요정, I like that. And 사랑대호님 messaging in as always saying happy Monday and July ahead. Well, thank you so much for messaging in. We're going to move on to Busan Update. And now it's time for Busan Update. Haeundae and Songjang beaches in Busan have officially opened earlier than usual this year. 네, 여름바다가 있어 아름다운 부산입니다. 해운대와 송정 해수욕장이 이미 정식 개장을 시작했는데요. Unlike previous years, they opened 10 days earlier without partial openings and will stay open until September 14th, 2 weeks longer than usual. Beach hours are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and this decision was made because in recent years, water temperatures have been warmer in September, leading to more visitors. Meanwhile, 5 other beaches, including Gwangalli, Songdo, will open tomorrow, July 1st, and close on August 31st. Up next, the Hydrangea Festival, which signals the start of summer here in Busan, will be held at Taejongsa Temple on Yeongdo Island from July 5th. 부산 여름의 시작을 알리는 영도 태종대 수구 문화축제가 7월 5일부터 태종사에서 열립니다. This year marks the 15th edition of the festival and its first return after a 5-year hiatus, and it will feature 4 main themes: performances, sharing, experiences, and creating memories. The festival will open on July 5th, as I mentioned, and hydrangeas bloom in various colors depending on soil conditions, so it really adds to the festival's unique charm. And that's it for Busan Update. And now it's time for Correspondent reports, back to back to back. Now today we're heading to New Zealand. 오늘은 뉴질랜드 소식 전해드리겠습니다. 조정현 통신원 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 반갑습니다. So we have Ms. Jo Jong-hyun connected here in the studio, and we're going to hear all about what's going on in the country of New Zealand. Now, last week, we saw major diplomatic moves in Europe, especially on security. New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon also met with several world leaders, so we're going to hear a bit about that. 네, 지난 한 주 유럽에선 주요 안보 외교 행보가 이어졌죠. 뉴질랜드 크리스토퍼 럭슨 총리도 여러 정상들과 회동을 가졌다고요?
네, 그렇습니다. 이번 나토 회의에 우리나라는 이재명 대통령을 대신해서 위성락 대통령 국가안보실장이 참석했죠. 럭슨 총리는 우크라이나 젤렌스키 대통령과의 양자 회담을 가졌고요. 이어 우리나라와 호주, 일본과의 안보 대화 등 굵직한 외교 일정을 소화했습니다.
I see. So Korea was represented by National Security Advisor Lee Song-rak. Prime Minister Rustin had a bilateral summit with the President of Ukraine and also took part in the IP4 security dialogue with Korea, Australia, and Japan. Then what were the key takeaways from the summit? 회의에서 특히 주목할 만한 내용이 있었나요?
네, 한국에 이미 보도된 바 있듯이 각국이 국방비를 GDP의 5%까지 늘리기로 합의를 했습니다. 유럽과 북미 32개국이 10년 안에 국방비를 5%까지 확대하겠다고 선언한 건데요. 이에 대해 럭슨 총리는 민주주의에 대한 실존적 위협을 인식한 결과라며 국가들이 빠르게 결속했다는 점이 인상 깊었다고 말했습니다.
그렇군요. So 32 countries from Europe and North America agreed to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP within 10 years. Luxon remarked that existential threats to democracy have to become a reality and that he was struck by how swiftly nations had come together. And before the summit, New Zealand announced a major aid package for Ukraine, correct? 회의에 앞서 뉴질랜드는 우크라이나에 대한 대규모 지원책도 발표했죠.
네, 그렇습니다. 뉴질랜드 정부는 우크라이나 지원을 위해 총 1,600만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 200억 원 규모의 지원책을 최근 발표했습니다. 이 중 800만 달러는 우크라이나 군사 지원을 위한 다국적 기금에, 700만 달러는 우크라이나 내의 인도적 지원에, 100만 달러는 인접 국가에 피난한 우크라이나인을 지원하는 데 쓰일 예정입니다.
I see. So 16 million New Zealand dollars, which is around 20 billion Korean won, package includes 8 million for a multinational military aid fund, 7 million for humanitarian support, and 1 million New Zealand dollars for assisting refugees in neighboring countries. So then what did Luxon say regarding the IP4 dialogue? IP4 회담과 관련해 럭슨 총리는 어떤 입장을 밝혔나요?
네, 럭슨 총리는 인도태평양과 유럽이 안보 측면에서 점점 더 연결되고 있다는 점에 공감하면서 특히 국방비를 늘리는 만큼 방산협력과 공동구매를 통해 예산 효율성을 높이는 것이 중요하다고 강조했습니다.
I see. So he stressed that security in the Indo-Pacific and Europe is becoming increasingly intertwined and emphasized the importance of defense industry cooperation and also joint procurement to use defense budgets effectively. Now, from New Zealand's perspective, how significant was this summit? 뉴질랜드 입장에서 이번 회의의 의미는 어떻게 해석할 수 있을까요?
네, 이번 나토 회의는 우크라이나 지원과 안보 공동 대응을 강화하는 자리였고 뉴질랜드 입장에서는 방산협력, 외교적 존재감 확대, 글로벌 연대 강화라는 측면에서 의미 있는 자리였다고 평가되고 있습니다.
I see. So beyond support for Ukraine, the summit was a meaningful opportunity for New Zealand to expand its diplomatic presence, strengthen defense cooperation, and reinforce global solidarity. With that, let's move on to our next topic. Next, we hear that New Zealand has become the first country to withdraw from the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, or BOGA. 다음은 뉴질랜드가 세계 최초로 보가에서 탈퇴했다는 소식입니다. 이 소식 전해주시죠.
네, 뉴질랜드 정부는 지난 6월 21일 공식적으로 탈퇴를 통보했습니다. 이는 탈석유 가스 정책을 촉진하려는 국제연합체에서의 첫 탈퇴 사례이기도 한데요. 환경단체인 그린피스는 이를 두고 기후 신뢰의 마지막 조각마저 이뤘다고 강하게 비판했습니다.
그렇군요. So on June 21st, the New Zealand government formally notified its withdrawal, and environmental groups like Greenpeace sharply criticized the move, saying it amounted to a loss of climate credibility. Then what was the rationale behind this decision? 어떤 이유에서 이런 결정을 내렸나요?
네, 대내적인 강한 비판이 있음에도 불구하고 뉴질랜드 정부는 이번 결정에 대해서 에너지 안보 확보를 위한 현실적인 선택이었다고 입장을 밝혔습니다.
I see. So now, so now this is due to the government seeing natural gas as a necessary transitional fuel for times when solar and wind aren't available. So they describe the decision as a realistic measure to ensure energy stability. So then, does this mean New Zealand is backing away from its climate commitments? 그렇다면 기후 공약은 후퇴한 건가요?
뉴질랜드 정부는 이 부분 분명하게 선을 그었습니다. 먼저 파리 협정상의 온실가스 감축 목표는 여전히 충실히 지켜나갈 것이라고 밝혔고요. 보가 탈퇴는 다소 상징적인 성격일 뿐이라는 점을 강조했습니다.
I see. So not at all. The government reiterated its commitment to the Paris Agreement and stressed that the BOGA withdrawal is mostly symbolic. Still, there must be concerns about the international response. 국제적인 비판을 의식하지 않을 수는 없을 것 같은데요.
네, 사실 보가는 소수 국가 중심의 비공식 연대에 불과하고 뉴질랜드의 실질적인 정책 자율성에는 큰 영향을 미치지 않습니다. 사실상 이번 탈퇴로 국제적 신뢰를 잃는 일은 없을 것이라는 게 정부의 입장입니다.
I see. So BOGA is a small and informal alliance, and the government believes the withdrawal will not significantly impact its policy autonomy or global reputation. So while environmental groups are concerned, the government is emphasizing a different, of course, system. 정리하면 환경단체는 우려하고 있지만 정부는 실용주의를 내세운 셈이군요.
네, 정부는 현실을 무시한 이상적인 정책보다는 에너지 수급과 경제 기반을 고려한 균형 있는 기후 대응이 필요하다는 점을 강조하고 있습니다.
I see. So the government says balanced, realistic action is more effective than idealistic policy disconnected from energy and economic needs. With that, let's move on to our final story for today. New Zealand is launching a new investment agency called Invest New Zealand. 네, 마지막 소식입니다. 뉴질랜드가 인베스트 뉴질랜드라는 새 투자 유치 기관을 출범시킨다고요?
네, 그렇습니다. 지난 6월 25일 수요일이었죠. 뉴질랜드 국회에서는 인베스트 뉴질랜드라는 새로운 투자 유치 기관을 공식 설립하는 법안이 통과됐습니다. 이 기관은 해외 투자자들과 직접 협력해서 뉴질랜드 내 일자리 창출과 혁신 산업 발전을 이끌게 됩니다.
I see. So on June 25th, Parliament passed the legislation, and the agency's goal is to attract foreign investment, to create jobs, and foster innovation. Now, foreign investment has been a key focus for the current government. 현재 정부가 가장 주력하는 분야 중 하나죠.
네, 외국인 투자 유치가 바로 그 부분인데요. 토드 맥클레이 무역투자부 장관은 이번 법안 통과를 두고 더 많은 해외 자본과 인재 유치는 뉴질랜드 경제 성장을 이루기 위한 정부 전략의 핵심이라고 말했습니다.
I see. So Trade and Investment Minister Todd McClay called it a core strategy for economic growth and stressed the need to attract more capital and talent. Then what will the agency actually do? 구체적인 역할은 어떻게 되나요?
네, 첨단 및 고성장 산업 분야 투자를 유치하고 해외 투자자와 현지 기업의 합동 연구 기회를 만들 예정입니다. 글로벌 기업의 뉴질랜드 내 연구 개발을 확대하고 지원할 예정이기도 하고요. 더불어 혁신 경제에 필요한 기술 인력 기반 구축도 지원하게 됩니다.
I see. So its roles include attracting investment in advanced industries, supporting R&D by global firms, and also promoting joint research with local businesses and fostering a skilled tech workforce as well. Then will the agency receive government funding? 그럼 정부 예산도 지원이 되나요?
그렇습니다. 향후 4년간 총 8,500만 뉴질랜드 달러, 우리 돈으로는 약 700억 원 정도를 지원할 예정입니다. 그리고 이 기관은 단순한 행정기관이 아니라 자율적인 공공기관 형태로 운영되고요. 민간 자문단의 전략적 조언을 바탕으로 훨씬 빠르고 유연하게 투자 유치 활동을 펼칠 수 있도록 설계됐습니다.
I see. So the agency will receive 85 million New Zealand dollars, approximately 70 billion Korean won over 4 years. It will be run independently with guidance from a private advisory board. Then when will it officially launch? 공식 출범은 언제인가요?
네, 글로벌 자본과 뉴질랜드의 경제 잠재력을 연결하는 다리 역할을 할 것이라는 기대 속에 7월 1일 당장 내일부터 정식 운영이 시작되고요. 규제를 줄이고 의사결정 속도를 높여서 뉴질랜드의 장기적인 이익을 가져올 투자를 유치하는 데 초점을 맞춰서 운영될 예정입니다.
그렇군요. So it launches tomorrow, July 1st, and the agency aims to reduce regulatory hurdles and act swiftly to attract long-term, high-impact investments. And that's going to do it for today's Correspondent Reports, connecting with our reporter based in New Zealand. 네, 오늘 뉴질랜드 소식 잘 들었는데요. 감사합니다.
네, 지금까지 뉴질랜드에서 통신원 조정현이었습니다. 고맙습니다.
네. All right, and that was Ms. Cho Jong-hyun based in New Zealand. Thank you so much for all the latest updates coming from New Zealand. Now we have messages coming in. We thank you so much for that. And Jin Lee Nim really loving our correspondent reporter. We do have many, many reporters that we connect with every single day, and I love connecting with them. And personally, I would love to hear about maybe their life in different countries as well. Maybe we can do that in the future. And listeners, that's going to do it for everything we have prepared for you today. The final song is by Queen with Under Pressure. We'll be back tomorrow. Happy end of June. We'll see you in July. Bye-bye.